I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only
What's
one.
up, everybody? Welcome to my channel.
No one
I'm
likes being
Sunshinery. Make
lied
sure
to.
to subscribe and like this video.
You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now
Excited to talk with you.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Still a love bomber, still a gaslighter, and I know those words are so overused, but it's true too when you're dealing with a narcissistic person.
How long after cameras went down did problems start really arising?
Come to find out, there's a girl that was waiting for him.
Stop. I learned that lesson too.
I bet. Are you dating? Have you changed your type?
I have, definitely. I'm like trying to figure out how much I want to say.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. We are here for yet another Rachel Goes Rogue podcast episode, chapter 33. Renee and Rachel go rogue. Now, the show notes say Rachel and Renee Ash have bad choices in men in common. The Love Undercover star goes rogue alongside Rachel as they dig into love bombing and how they handle dating and finding love now. So this is going to be the start of her talking about her dating again and all of that. The next episode after this is going to be about her first date. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure your notifications are set to all. Alright, everybody, let's just dive right in head first.
Welcome back to another episode of Rachel Goes Rogue. This is your host, Rachel Savannah Leviss. Today we're interviewing Renee from Peacock's first season of Love Undercover. The premise of the show is that the women think they're finding love with ordinary men from abroad. Little did they know, all 5 men were actually famous soccer players. Renee fell for England's Jamie O'Hara, a manager, radio host, and former player. By the end of the season, these two looked like they had a picture-perfect love story. But that's exactly where their story ends. Renee now claims that a week after filming, she learned that Jamie's profession wasn't the only secret he was keeping. Hi, Renee.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. It's been chaos, as I'm sure you've experienced.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk with you.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about who Renee Ash is because I am not a Love Undercover watcher. If you are, please let us know down below what we are missing out on. But Renee Ash was left shattered after being brutally dumped by British former soccer star Jamie O'Hara just 1 week after flying to the UK to be with him, and was later told that he had a secret girlfriend the entire time. Now, these two had met on the show where Jamie claimed that he had fallen deep for her, that he was committed to her and her only. He even introduced her to his children. But after the camera stopped rolling and just days after she flew to the UK, he blindsided her by ending the relationship. Now, Renee believes that this love rat only struck up a romance with her on the show for money and to attempt to forge a name for himself in the USA. Now, clearly, we're going to get a lot more details from her herself. So that is my little background so far. We'll get into everything else as the podcast keeps going. All right, let's see what's going on next.
Okay, so you did this reality TV show called Love Undercover. And basically, the goal was to strip away these guys' fame and celebrity status of being professional soccer players in the UK and Mexico and other parts of the world,
Correct.
in hopes of finding a genuine romantic connection. What were you told exactly about the men before filming the show? And how did you get pitched the show? What was that whole process for you?
So when I got cast, I was like the last person cast, and everything happened really quickly. And so they told me top-notch guys, international, all the women from America, 5 guys, 5 girls, no competition.
Oh,
And yeah. And they were like, these are like 10 out of 10. Like, trust me, you want to be here because the Prince of Spain could be waiting for you. Wink, wink, Renee. And I was like, you know what? Prince of Spain sounds good. But they also made it seem like within the 5 guys, 5 girls, like there is a match for you. However, the one that you make the most connection with, that's who you'll end up traveling with.
okay. Interesting. Okay, so they kind of pitched it like it's 5 guys, 5 girls, there's no competition, but in reality, they brought in 5 new girls like right after the introduction with the original 5 girls, and then right after that, it was 5 more girls. So it really like put the guys in an environment that I feel like would almost mimic real life because girls fling themselves at them and just like
I was alerted every time because me and Jamie had a connection from the start. And so he would tell me that new girls were coming. So I didn't really feel that I had competition because me and him we clicked right away.
we've seen that. Like it seemed like you guys were pretty solid throughout the whole thing. He narrowed it down to you like quicker than all the other guys. And it
Yes.
seemed like you were able to like form a connection during that time that you had together while the other guys were still trying to figure out and make up their minds and all that nonsense.
Yeah, I was just chilling. We were mom and dad of the house.
Yeah.
I always find very interesting the pitches that they give to these people, especially like the MILF manner. Like, how do you pitch that? Like, oh, your mom's going to one resort, and then your son is going to another resort, and then come to find out in the long run, you're at the same resort, and he's trying to compete with the other moms that are there, where you're trying to compete for one of the sons of the moms that are there. Like, I thought that was interesting when I heard MILF Manor's like whole approach. This is pretty interesting that they're like, there's no competition, but then when it actually starts, it's like they bring 5 more girls in, and then they're going to bring more girls in. So that was pretty interesting to hear. And then her just saying like they made that connection. I felt like he found somebody that he probably knew he could not manipulate, but like sink his teeth into to go along with. And if he told her like other girls were coming and forewarned her, then that builds trust with her that like he could end up having this connection with her supposedly for the entire time, because then that trust is there that she thinks like he really does care for her, so he can manipulate her in the end just for the money and the fame like she's claiming. Seems about right. It seems very interesting for sure. Shit, I got Netflix. I'm going to turn this on as I listen to the podcast. Maybe I'll get some insider tea watching.
So, and you mentioned a few times like Jamie reminded you of your ex.
And guess
What was it? Yeah. Okay. Tell me. I want the update. I want to know, were those red flags accurate? What was it?
He is a copy and paste.
Mm.
Jamie is more calculated, still a love bomber, still a gaslighter. And I know those words are so overused, but it's true too when you're dealing with a narcissistic person. Love bombed me like no other. They're copy and paste of each other. Like I said, Jamie's more calculated. The other one just has a little less IQ point.
Oh, that's sad to hear, really, because I was kind of like rooting for you guys and I wanted to believe like it was a genuine connection. And I'm sure part of it was genuine, but maybe not the case.
I feel like guys who do love bombing, gaslighting, all that stuff, not in the public eye, get away with it so much more. And basically, I'm sure you've received like the same amount of like death threats and like based off of a false story. And in my previous relationship, nobody wanted to listen to me and nobody wanted to listen to the truth. And to this day, it's still a false story. And it just feels very frustrating. And like me talking about it now with Jamie, does it feel good? It's kind of tainted.
I'm sorry to hear that. Because I was wondering too, because there was a point I was watching you have a conversation with Jamie and then it cuts to your interview and you're like, I don't know, I'm picking up on something. Like, is he love bombing me? And I was like, dang, little does this girl know that he is this famous, rich guy who I'm sure, like, if they make it to the end, he's going to love bomb this out at her. And it would be so confusing too, because it's like, is this love bombing or is this just your lifestyle?
For me, I was like, also like the rich thing for him was played up a lot. I'll just say that.
Oh,
And the famous thing for him was played up a lot. Maybe he had
interesting.
his time in the tabloids like 10 years ago, but you can go ask anybody in the UK and they'll be like, huh, who? Or if they do know him, it's a UK footballer and they're like, how'd you end up with him?
Wow.
So I wanted to look back and see who she previously dated, which this article from USA Network says that Renee Ash previously mentioned on the show that she's been in page 6. That had to do with her breakup with Monty Lopez, known to many as the father of TikTok sensation Addison Rae. In 2022, rumors began to circulate that Lopez was married to Rae's mom, Sherry Nicole Easterling, at the time he was cheating. It was all rumors and speculation until videos surfaced allegedly showing Lopez caressing a girl's backside at a club. That girl was not Ash. However, discovering the video prompted Renee Ash to come into the public eye to reveal that she had been dating Lopez for 5 months. She told Page 6 at the time that he characterized his marriage as being over and allegedly led Renee Ash on with promises of marriage despite their more than 20-year age difference. She even claimed he introduced her to his mother and youngest brother. However, when she saw the video of him allegedly groping another young girl, she decided to make their relationship public. So, that was her last relationship, which clearly there were a lot of red flags between that relationship and the relationship she had on Love Undercover with Jamie. So far, at least from everything we've heard.
That's interesting. Okay, do you think that they were playing up like all of the guys?
I think a few of them are substantial, successful, notable, like they've earned what they have. Some of them were played up a little more, but I mean, one comes from like a really notable family in football. The other one of them is also, he's like younger and also figuring out his career, and like it's hard competing with so many athletes to make it in that world. But I'll just speak on my experience.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's following him around with paparazzi.
Okay. So that scene was kind of, I mean, there was a scene where like you guys were walking into the restaurant and like the
If
paparazzi
you
was.
look at his interview and he's like, oh no, this is me and my wife again. Like, bro, I'm pretty sure you called them on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you regret choosing him over somebody else?
I don't regret it. I have become good friends with some of the other guys. And I think that he was my final lesson, because you know how universe and life keeps throwing you lessons until you learn it. I think he was like the last lesson I needed to be like, this is not the type of man to go for.
So real quick, I want to go over the guys that were in this show. Of course, we have the first one, Jamie O'Hare, which was who she had the connection with. He's 36, from England. He's a retired Premier League star and a current analyst. Then we have Mr. Ryan, who is 36. He's from the Netherlands. He last played for the TFF First League Club, and I cannot pronounce that league, but there you go. And then we have Lloyd Jones. He's 27. He's from England. He plays for the Charlton Athletic FC. And then we have Marco, who's 33. He's originally from Mexico. He plays for the Empire Strikers and previously has won an Olympic gold medal back in 2012. Then we have Sebastian, who is 29, also from Mexico. He last played for someplace in Mexico. I'm not even going to try and pronounce things that I can't. But 5 men put up against 18 women, where in this article from today, it even says the 18 American women competing for Love Undercover. So without them really knowing, they were going into a competition show, which is how they did not perceive it to these women before going onto the show. They were saying, you're going to find love. There's no competition. But clearly, there is. Literally, a 5 to 18 ratio. That's insane. And we'll go over the women later. But I can definitely see where they try to play it up like these guys live these luxurious lifestyles. They're famous people from other countries and all of that, because these are all people I have never heard of. I might know somebody that he loves his football over there that might know a player or two, but literally some of these guys haven't played in a long time, or they're currently playing but trying to figure out what they're going to do with their next step in life, like she said. So it definitely was played out for sure. And I can tell just by the couple episodes I have watched now while doing this.
Yes, I love to hear that. So what were the lessons that you needed to learn with this relationship, and looking back on your past relationships, the patterns, and just like what you've overcome now moving forward in your dating life?
Well, again, I'm going to use these 2 words, like, to really look out for love bombing and gaslighting. And when someone comes off really strong in the beginning, there's a difference between coming on strong, and there's a difference between coming on strong, like to an extent where it's not normal. And that's like a very easy sign that somebody is love bombing you. And just like picking up on like certain behaviors and the way he talks. And I didn't get to see his confessionals, and that's like more of the true him. And so what I was getting wasn't that personality. But as soon as cameras were off, we would be out in London, and I just like would pick up on like certain things he say, or like how he would treat people at restaurants. And that's also like not cool. And like my thing is, and I'm sure you say this as well, like living in LA, when these men have to talk about what they have or how much money they have or what they own, they don't have it, or like how famous they are. And looking back, seeing him talking about how famous he is and this and that, and like it really corresponds to my ex of talking about like, oh my God, we're doing this and we're doing that, and all these false promises. That's a huge sign. Like, no matter how little or big these, I'm going to do this with you and that with you and that with you, that's another sign.
I will say there is a big difference between someone that is a huge love bomber and someone that's just being genuine and loving, sweet, and kind. There are 2 very big differences. Now, I have been called a love bomber myself, because I like to call people honey and love and you're just so sweet, because that's just how I was raised. And I have respect for other people, and I'm just a genuine person. Now, I don't go out of my way, though. Like, I have seen other creators where they're just like, oh my God, I love you guys so much. You are just so amazing. You're the sweetest ever. That's overly love bombing people. And it seems like he was doing that to her, where he was just like, oh, you're just so pretty, you're gorgeous, you're the best, you're so sweet, I love that you look like this, and I love that, I love this, I love that. It's a lot of love bombing going on, for sure. And I do believe that she is correct that love bombing and gaslighting are 2 words that are way overused, that people need to learn their actual definition to, and understand the difference between people that are just being genuine and people that are actually being love bombers, or people that are actually gaslighting you, or people that are just being real. And I will say, when someone has to brag about how much fame they have, that shows they don't really have that fame that they think that they have, or that they're expressing that they have. If you were actually famous, they would have known right off the bat. And that's the whole premise of this show, was for these women not to know that these guys had fame as soccer players, and that they fell in love with them for true love, not for the fame and the money and all of that. So if they were that famous, these women would have known right off the bat, and they couldn't have men that were that famous because of it. And big thing with the athletics community in general is that people that join like the NBA or these soccer teams, when they start getting these big paychecks from these leagues that they're in, instead of investing their money, they like to flaunt the money that they're getting. And that's a big thing where they themselves need to look deep inside and be like, well, I'm not going to be playing soccer forever, or I'm not going to be playing basketball forever, or I'm not going to be playing, baseball forever. So maybe I should invest my money so that way when I can't play, or if I get injured and don't realize like I could get an injury, I have that money as backup, and I'm not overly spending on things that I can't afford, though I can afford it because I'm getting this money now, but you won't be able to afford it when that money stops coming in, kind of a thing. So that's another clue too, for sure. But like I said, the whole premise of the show was for these women to not know that they were famous. So if they were coming off with the I'm so famous kind of a thing, I think that came afterwards, not during the show. That was a red flag she should have picked up on, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I also definitely. It's so important to pay attention to how people treat everyone.
I learned that lesson too, unfortunately.
I bet.
Yeah. And I feel like it was going pretty fast, and he didn't ask you to be his girlfriend. He was just like, you're my girlfriend.
Yeah. And so I'm like, this is not the proper way to ask somebody to be your girlfriend.
Yeah.
He said our first I love you off camera. And so they had us redo it when I met his kids. And I also thought that was a really not good move as a dad, to introduce like this girl from LA you met on a show to your kids on camera. That scene didn't make it into the stuff, but like, not a good dad move. Like, you're throwing your kids into a reality show and having them meet this girl you met less than a month ago, and then would ask me if I'm like cool to watch them when he has to work afterwards, like once I moved in. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, but like they barely know me.
It's like immediate stepmom role. Which
also, I would never be like, hi, call me your mom. I'd be like, I'm more of a friend to you. Like, let's hang out, we'll do TikToks and play video games. But I just thought that was a huge red flag to like immediately introduce me to your kids on camera. It's just a little shady.
Yeah, that's a little weird that she met his kids that soon, and that he even said, I love you in front of the kids, even though like it was said off camera and they made him redo it. That's still very awkward. And you need to be sensitive to your kids' needs. And I know, like, I have a lot of friends that are single mothers, single fathers, and they would not introduce someone that they just met, let alone dating, for a long time before they introduce their kids to that person, because they want to make sure that person is right for them. They don't want to get their kids attached, and they're sensitive to their kids' needs, knowing that like they do have another parent, though that their parents aren't together. They're not trying to throw somebody new into their kids' lives that might not be there. And it seems like this guy knew damn well what he was doing, and having his kids just being introduced to them and then making it seem like he was in love with her to his kids. I mean, he's pretty much gaslighting his own children. And for all we know, his kids could have been in on this whole thing. Like, Dad's gonna go do this so we can get some more fame and money. Like, for all we know, which, if that's the case, that's even worse. But, like, you just don't do something like that. That's just... I would have been like, I don't think it's time that I meet your kids. Like, I would love to meet your kids, don't get me wrong, but we just met each other on a show. Can we have some time to get to know each other? Like, I'm not even technically your girlfriend yet. So, like, can we slow the roll? And that's another thing with, like, these love competition shows. They need to give people time outside of the show to really get to know each other. And I think that's a big thing where, like, you have these shows where they're expected to get married or, like, expected to be in a serious relationship with somebody when the show ends. You can't expect that. And that's overly doing it with these love competition shows. Though I will say Love Island is pretty damn good. But, you know, our girl Ariana is killing it. And I will say that here on Rachel Goes Rogue. Ariana is killing it, Rachel, and you're just jealous. That's me being a petty Betty. All right, let's continue.
Are you dating now?
Am I dating now? It's really hard because I want to change. I'm working on changing what I'm attracted to and getting away with what I'm comfortable with, which is like loud, wild, big personality, love bombing. Because to be honest, like, why wouldn't I fall for that? Like, of course. I'm very insecure, but I'm also very confident at the same time. So I'm like, why wouldn't you love me right away? Because I fall really fast and hard if I'm really into somebody.
Mhm.
So dating's been interesting because I'm like, there's nobody that's like immediate sparks, but I'm trying to like give it a go with the slow burn. But I also still want somebody kind of in my world of like, you know, kind of the world we're in of like kind of public and high profile, but also maybe I don't need that. Maybe I just need like a really sweet finance guy. I don't know.
My mom's friend is like, just date a nerd. The nerds are the best.
Honestly, I think that's the way to go.
I know. I'm like, but like, I want someone that I'm attracted to, you know, like it's this
Nerds
whole
could be
thing.
cute. It's just like a mindset.
Yeah, totally. Would you ever go for a construction worker?
Oh no, not this again.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I think I can't now.
So
I just think I put that too much. Like the construction worker thing was like so blown up that I just don't think it's in my cards.
yeah,
But, like, all respect to construction workers. They do work really hard. I was
For
just
sure.
thrown into the show thinking there was a prince there.
yeah. I think you like mentioned that too. You're like, what if there's, you know, the Prince of Dubai here, whatever it was, and that's funny that they like fed you that little seed.
Well, like, I wouldn't mind being with a prince, okay? I wouldn't mind being a princess.
First off, when has it been said that all nerds are unattractive? Like, that's putting a bias on something that's clearly not true. There are plenty of people that consider themselves nerds that are very hot and well mannered, respectful, and they do more than just nerdy things in these girls' opinions. And that's labeling people. You're labeling somebody as a nerd. Like, okay, so is my brother a nerd because he likes computer stuff and he went to school for computer stuff? Is my best friend a nerd because all he does is IT computer stuff? I have another friend that all he does is computer stuff all day and he plays video games. Are they too much of a nerd for you? Though they're very attractive men. They really are. So that is just completely ridiculous. I can't even believe that Rachel said that, but come on now, it's Rachel. And I feel like these women just need somebody that's famous and well known and, you know, sexy and has, you know, pecs and all of that. What is wrong with these women? That's why you can't find the right guy. That's the problem right there. You're not opening your door to a variety of men that you wouldn't see yourself with because you might not have things in common or they're just not good enough for you in that sense. They're not on their level. And shit, my boyfriend is a Well, he's considered a construction worker. He's a heavy machine operator, and he is one hard ass working man. This man works Monday through Saturday and sometimes even on Sunday. He never takes a day off. He considers himself to a dirt guy because he likes doing the prep work. That's never been a turnoff to me. If anything, that's sexy as fuck because he's hardworking. He's very good at what he does. It takes a lot of skill to be able to operate those machines, let me tell ya. And for me, that's sexy as fuck. He might come home dirty and have asphalt and all of that on him, but he showers, he takes care of himself, he's well groomed, all of that. That's just the job. These women need some time to themselves to see deep down inside them that not all of these labels and ideas about what people do is a turnoff or not what they're looking for. You need to look outside the box, especially when you've been making the same mistake over and over again with the same type of man. You need to expand your horizons and start looking elsewhere outside that box that you've labeled yourself in that you want, because there are men out there that do things and are hardworking men that will treat you a whole hell of a lot better than someone that has a big ego because they're so famous. You know what I mean? Listen, I don't get these women sometimes. And Renee and Rachel seem like they're a great pair. They need time. They need time to really reflect on their life to be able to understand what they want. And I understand that because I made poor choices in who I dated, and I kept dating the same type of guy over and over again. And it took me a long time to just be by myself and love myself to be able to realize what I really wanted. It seems like there's a lot of growth to still be done for both of them.
So are you in therapy to work on overcoming your own personal stuff, or where are you at with your healing?
I used that show therapist. Yeah, me and her were tight.
Oh, you had a show therapist.
Yeah, the great thing about reality shows is that I don't know about yours, but they provide you with a show therapist.
That's awesome.
You're like, mine did
Mine
not.
did not, but that is reassuring to me because that's something that has been lacking in the reality TV world, having a therapist on set. And that's been part of the conversations I've been having with different creators and different production companies, and just knowing that that is something that is in need. And it's good to know and have that feedback that these shows are now implementing.
Yeah, no, I got really lucky. The woman that I worked with was amazing. Definitely mental health has been at an all-time low over the past week because the man that I'm dealing with, it's like I was so in love and it's so fun and beautiful to watch, but at the same time, it's really hard to watch and really sad to see how happy I was. And then, in the last week, him coming at me and sending me really, really rude, appalling texts. And with me speaking my truth, which this isn't like a scandal outing situation. This is just me speaking my truth to empower myself, to empower other women who have been through something similar, to empower anybody who can relate, and also answer fans' questions because I get DMs, comments nonstop every day. And I didn't want to do it on my own platform. I wanted to do it in a generalized manner. So in an article where it's you can look it up, you can read it. Here's nothing but the truth. And of course he denied everything because what is he going to do? I'm telling the truth of all the wrongdoings he did to me. Of course he's going to deny it. But just getting those texts and also kind of the PTSD of putting out an article like this, it kind of brought me back to the past of when I was in my early 20s and got really upset and heated with my boyfriend and at the time and outed it in a very impulsive way. And it created such a big scandal. I didn't expect that from my past relationship. And when I brought our relationship to light, it just gave me kind of PTSD of that. And then on top of it, Jamie now texting my mom and saying horrible things, and then gathering just in case I need it, all the proof I have from, I have like what I call my British family in the UK. They're like family to me. And when I was navigating leaving his house and going back into London and getting accommodations, and he was being the opposite of a gentleman, my British family stepped in to kind of help me out and be like, Jamie, you just blindsided her. She's here for you. She extended her stay here because you asked her to move in, and now you're unwilling to take care of her. He screamed at them. He hung up on them. People with bad intentions will always ruin it for themselves. And so that's exactly what he's doing. And his karma is just nonstop. I feel like he's a very miserable person that has to act out in really disgusting ways to have some sort of fulfillment. And I feel really bad about that for him.
I will say that's wonderful news that this show had a show therapist for these women, and I'm assuming men as well, for anyone that possibly needed one. I think that is something that should be implemented throughout other reality TV shows, especially Vanderpump and other Bravo shows like The Real Housewives and even, Below Deck. I mean, I've been watching Real Housewives of New Jersey, that whole, from the start to finish, season 1 till now, and you could just see everything that went wrong between Teresa and Melissa. And if they had maybe a show therapist, they could have maybe had a better relationship, because when they did do those retreats and had a therapist to communicate back and forth with each other, it made it better between them. There's a lot of hurt there. I don't want to get into it, but I think that is something that Bravo needs to look into, or I should say NBC, Evolution. If Netflix is doing this, then come on, NBC, get with the program. I'm glad to hear too that even after everything he put her through, she had a support system there in the UK that took care of her, because that could have been one of her lowest points, having nobody and not knowing what to do. And it's a very scary situation. And this guy just seems like such a douchebag. Like, even looking at his IG, like, he's clearly gotten some kind of a little bit of fame with being on the show. He has podcasts and sports shows that he does. He does this golf thing, and he's made a name for himself, where his name maybe, yes, was out there for being a soccer player, but he's made a name now from the show that he's getting gigs and he's doing more. And I hope the best for her, that she can do the same. And I will say, we covered it in the beginning, like the first guy that she dated and had like a similar relationship, she outed him to Page Six. She went forward to let Page Six know he's been lying, that I've been dating him for how long. So I can see where she had some PTSD bringing that up and having to do this all over again. She needs to keep pushing forward, and remember, this is her truth, her story. She can change it. She can use this to make herself stronger and become a much better person, and also figure out what the hell she's looking for in men, because clearly it's not Jamie O'Hare, who is a douchebag, just like Scandoval, in my opinion. From everything I've seen and watched so far. What do you guys think? Especially the ones that have seen the full episode and show, like all of the episodes. Let me know down below what you think.
How long after cameras went down did problems start really arising?
So his energy shifted. I took him to an event because I was asked to move to London. So I already started setting up, like, what can I do for work here? I'm going to start meeting other influencers here. I took him to an event, and energy shifted almost immediately. Day after cameras ended, I had a talk with him, and I was like, I'm freaking out. And if I get weird, it's not because of you, even though we've known each other such a short time. I love and adore you, but this is a huge, huge move for me. And like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing here, and my family's there, but just know I do want to be here, and I'm just communicating everything. So if I do start to get weird, it's not you, and you know where it's coming from. And his response was He held me. He said, I've got you forever. And if anything, you want to go see your mom, I will get you a plane ticket to go see her, but just grab more stuff and come right back. And had conversations with my mom about how he's always got me, has my best interest, and like he's a sense of stability for me. How do you say all those things? Day after that, that's when his energy started shifting. And it lasted truly about 6 days of me living with him until he broke up with me and said that there's so much more to his life that I don't know about. Come to find out, there's a girl that was waiting for him.
Stop.
And he was telling everyone that it wasn't a dating show. He's just going to go do the show, get money. And I have the proof, like this man can't deny it. So it's just really unfortunate that he fooled us all, fooled me, and like took my heart and my emotions into it without care of how it would affect me. And I'm not the only one that he does this to.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Me too. It's sad, but it's also a learning lesson at the same time, and another way to connect with other women and like kind of be a voice for people who maybe don't have the courage to talk about it, or maybe going through it silently, or maybe need to hear about it from someone who like they've seen go through it publicly.
I'm so happy that you're here on Rachel Goes Rogue, because that's been my whole mission with sharing my story and this whole public experience, and how difficult that has been to go through. But also, it's not even, I mean, it goes so much deeper, because these are like real feelings that you have for this person, and it's an attachment, and it's your real life.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand, because both of us are on a TV show and it's treated like, oh, it's a show. Oh, you're a character. But no, this is my life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
Personally, I think Rachel's situation is much different than Renee's situation. They're both learning lessons for these women, and it's something that they will grow stronger through it all. But her telling her story was because she wasn't on season 11, and she was the person that was having the affair with her friend's boyfriend of 9 years, where Renee went on a show knowing that it was going to be a show where she might find love, and this guy literally played her, probably played production. I don't know if production was in on it or what, but he played everybody. Much different situation than what Rachel had going on. But wow, she moved there for him, and within 6 days of living with him, this is what happened to her. That's completely insane. And yes, that girl is all over his IG. You can go look right now. Like, her name is Kells. That to me is just such... It's evil. This is like what I don't like about what our world is coming to, is that people will do things to gain a step up, and they don't care if they're hurting other people's feelings, if they're making people go through like mental health issues where they're literally destroying a person and everything that this person ever thought they knew. And it's literally very traumatic, where he's probably thinking, so what? Like, okay, they don't care. How do we get to a place in this world where people aren't considerate of other people, and that people will step on anybody just to get an inch? Literally. It's the most disgusting, vile thing I've ever seen, and it's only getting worse and worse. But as my grandmother keeps reminding me at her age of 95, that don't ever change who you are, how you were raised, because you have respect, you care for others, you will do anything for anyone. And in the long run, that will get you further, even if people have taken advantage of me, have hurt me, have betrayed my trust, have used me to get ahead. In the end, their karma will come, and people will see the courage and strength that I've had to endure to get through all this to get me to where I am. And though sometimes it's hard, especially when you're feeling emotions as someone's doing something to you, it's something that you need to just always stay true to who you are and know that you don't need to step on anyone to gain ahead. You just need to work hard, be yourself, and be real. You stepping on somebody else to get you ahead isn't gonna get you ahead in the long run. Your karma will come. So that's just all I gotta say about that, really, honestly. And I don't really want to say that Rachel's karma came, but it did in her situation and what she put herself through. But she's also now seeing the light to certain things. I think that's being very helpful to her, though she's still continuing to do things that it's just like, why? Why? Like, what, this lawsuit? Why, girl? Why? Why are you doing things like that? So you're still hurting her, even though what you did already hurt her enough, but because you felt like she gained from it, now you're going to go after her even more? No, I don't play that game. I don't. And I do want to update that Tom did drop his portion of the filing that he filed, saying, well, if I get these accusations put on me and it's deemed that it was my fault, then Ariana needs to pay for it as well because she was the one who did this. He did drop it. We will go over that. I do have the new filing. I'm going to put it with the old filing and the new filing, but you can have a sneak peek of everything on the live that I did, which is not in the same tab as my video, so you have to go to the live tab to see it. It's there for you. Check it out. It was a great time, and I will be doing a whole hell of a lot more lives, so make sure your notifications are on.
Do you talk about that with your therapist that they assigned you with?
Yeah, so I haven't, since the show ended, like they gave us a certain amount of appointments with her. I used all of them for sure. Like I needed her.
Yeah.
But now I've just been kind of, to be honest, I've been in a little bit of a depression, like just with all of it kind of blowing up at once and then still being dismissed. And the thing is with this type of man or this type of person is you're not going to get an apology and you just have to accept that. You're not going to get clarification and that's just something you have to accept.
So I'm assuming you watched the entire thing through again, right?
I had to watch it multiple times because my friends want to watch it with me. My mom wants to watch it with me. And I kind of desensitize myself. But also, it's such a good show that I didn't mind watching it over and over. Like, I'm so impressed by it.
It is an entertaining show for sure. But I'm sure it's difficult, like reliving that now and having people DM you. And have you been getting like support online?
It's the first time I've had like tons of support online and it makes me so happy. And people keep asking me like, oh, are your DMs filled with men? And I'm like, no, they're filled with women and I couldn't be happier.
I love that.
And
I love that.
And it's extra special for me because it's like my experience is now being validated and heard and women are understanding it. And it's a different group of women than before. These are like more mature women and women who have maybe been through more experience and get it. And yeah, no, I couldn't be happier than like the support I'm receiving is amazing.
That's so amazing. Yeah, I can relate to that too. And it's so just like heartwarming and feeling like you have a purpose in life when people approach you and say, like, you sharing your story has helped me get through my experience and I can relate to you so much. And it's
Best
just like,
feeling.
it is the best feeling because I think specifically with someone who has narcissistic characteristic traits and has these patterns of like gaslighting, you feel like you're invisible, you feel like you're crazy, you feel like you're wrong, you're really second guessing your reality. And so when you're able to voice that to other people and then it's reflected and received back to you, it's like, oh my gosh, I actually am not. I exist and other people can
Yeah.
see me and I'm like, this is real.
Let's be real, Rachel. Social media was not your best friend when all of this happened to you because you were not a victim of what you did. You were also upset that people weren't seeing it from your point of view. That's why you had to do this podcast to kind of push a narrative that this is what happened to you and that you are a victim. which, don't get me wrong, Tom Scumdevil, yes, is somebody that played everybody. He has narcissistic personality traits. I can't diagnose him. I will continue to say that. But you had the ability to say no. You had the ability to stop it. You had the ability to go to your friend and tell your friend what was going on. You let that go on just as long as he did for 7 months. I'm glad that she's gotten the help that she needed, and I'm glad that there are people that can relate to her story and can support her, and I'm glad that her views have changed, though not necessarily the same as Renee's. Here we go again. It's not the same scale.
So in the past week, and I'm sure you've experienced this with what you went through, like they, again, narcissistic behavior, they make you feel like, wait, am I crazy? Because I feel crazy. But when you discuss and even just show people what's being said by this person, it's so validating for people to reach out to me and you both. It's like, it just makes you feel like, okay, so it wasn't me. It was him having the narcissistic characteristics, gaslighting you into thinking you're the problem and thinking you're crazy. And so that's also part of what I've been struggling with the past week. But the support is just worth it, I think, because what's the point of like being in this world and having these horrible experiences if you can't share them and like help other people?
100%.
Not that was the goal of the show. Like I truly had an amazing time. I fully fell in love. It was a time of my life. But
Well, I think something good came out of it then, even though it had to come with its own set of pain and challenges, and like it wasn't what you were expecting going into this reality TV experience. But now you get to share your story and connect to others. And I think also the people that criticize us talking about our experiences don't they don't understand because they haven't been through it. And so for that, it's like you're very lucky that you don't understand what we're talking about. But
yes.
it's like we're not being in this victim role. I feel like it's more of an empowerment role of like sharing our experience to connect with others. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, and that's what I've learned, like, from anyone who throws any hate on the internet, like, who has the time for that, first of all? And second of all, I always wish them, like, whether I rarely respond to it, but, like, if I do, I'm like, "I don't know what's going on in your life, but, like, if you need to DM me so you get some support in what you're going through, I feel sorry for you," because the type of person that would go out and comment something so rude, there has to be something that they're struggling with on their own. And again, like criticizing us for like speaking on the truth. Luckily, this time, and maybe I've gotten a few comments that I haven't really paid much attention to, but like it truly comes from a place of empowerment. And I've had a lot of conversations with the people in my life to get to a point of like, okay, this is empowering me. Like, this isn't me feeling sorry for myself because I get scared of feeling that way, but those aren't my intentions.
First off, there's a big difference between someone giving their opinion regarding the situation that happened and people just leaving nasty, vile, mean comments because they're just an asshole or they have something in their life that is going on that makes them act out in a way that they have to hate on others to feel better about themselves. And some people can't see the difference between someone actually giving an opinion about how they feel about the situation and taking that as, well, they're just being a hateful person. I feel like with this podcast and everything that I commentate on and your guys' comments and all of that are our feelings and opinions regarding everything that she is saying and doing from a perspective of us watching the show and understanding what went down. And even the people that come at me in the comment section, which I don't get a lot of, but that are like, oh, all you do is talk about her, you're so mean and cruel to her. It's like, no, I'm actually really not. And if anything, I'm giving my opinion about what she is saying and doing, and also putting out the facts of the matter, where she's missing a lot of these points because she's wrapped up in this headspace that she's in. And her not saying that she was a victim, that this is just empowering other women, that's what it's really about. Girl, you have been playing the victim since the moment you could use it. Literally. And you're still, in my opinion, acting like a victim when you're not. Where she even said it. She's not, Renee that is, isn't expecting an apology because she's never going to get it. It's the same for you with what you did to Ariana. You've given very generic apologies, but someone that's very sincere will continue to apologize and just be sincere about what they put others through and how that they realize it impacted somebody and they should have never done what they did. I will say she might have been maybe a victim of Sandoval's narcissistic traits and his manipulation, but again, you could have stopped this a long time ago before it got to the point that it got to, and you didn't, and that's the real issue. And the fact that you don't take accountability every chance that you get, saying that you're sorry, especially to Ariana, and instead you are throwing lawsuits at her and making it seem like you're the victim there because she found out about the affair and sent you what she found to be like, F you, girl. Seriously? Are you serious? F you, get the hell out of my life. What did you expect? Like, what did you think was gonna happen after all of that time? What do you guys think about this? Let me know down below.
But are you dating and have you changed your type?
I have. I've taken a year off of dating to work on myself and like
Okay, so did I.
realize, yes, you took a year off. That's awesome. And now that I'm, getting back out there and meeting new people, I met someone who I had awesome communication with, and he was very like emotionally intelligent and emotionally regulated, and it just didn't work out. I've kind of been seeing somebody else, and it's been fun and like a fling and and
Yeah.
he's just so sweet, like so kind, and like that's like it really does make a difference.
It's so important, like, even the littlest things, especially for us who have been through, like, people who treat us horribly. We're like, "Oh my god, you went out and got my coffee order? That is so sweet."
Yes, yes, I know. I explain it to my friends, and I'm like, emotionally regulated, and I'm like, "Geez, this sounds so silly." Like, this is like standard stuff that you would just
Standard.
have, like, as basic, like, you know, basic benchmarks for a
I
relationship.
know.
But, yeah, it's true when you've been through relationships that have been toxic and abusive and secretive, you lose a part of yourself to that person, and by that point, you're already so attached that you're not thinking logically, and it's just painful.
For
Yeah.
me, I forgot who I was, and I remember thinking in one of my relationships, like, "Wait, what's my personality? Like, do I have a personality?" Because you're just so wrapped up in their craziness, and they isolate you from your friends and everything that makes you you, so that you're stuck to them in their little breadcrumbing web of horrificness.
Yeah.
Again, I just don't feel like these two situations are even comparable at all. Like, yes, Rachel lost herself, and yes, now they both took some time off to figure out the type of guy that they're looking for and not the type of guy that they were going for, and that yes, they maybe were manipulated, but with Rachel's situation, she knew better. That was like a you don't go there ever kind of a situation, and she went there knowing he was off limits, even if he was throwing himself at her. You just don't do that. I would really love to ask Renee, if you knew this guy had somebody waiting at home on the side, would you have continued to try and do the same thing you did? No, you probably wouldn't. Oh, and I just love that she had to throw in the and secretive about it all kind of thing. Yeah, you hid the relationship with Scandoval because you had to. He had a girlfriend of 9 years. That had to happen. He wasn't a single man. That's why I would love to ask Renee that question. If you knew he had someone waiting for him after the show was over, would you even try to pursue anything with him? I would think she would say no, but that's a question for her, and I would love to know the answer. So if you are listening to this, Renee, you can let us know down below. What do you guys think? What do you think she would say? Let me know down below, because I know you guys have some opinions on this as well.
Is it hard for you to be with a sweet guy and find him exciting?
It's hard for me to be with a sweet guy and, like, think of it as, like, a serious long-term thing. Like, I don't see him as my husband.
Right? Because I've been attracting since I took a lot of time off to work on my stuff, I've been attracting, like, the sweetest guys. And I'm just like, I appreciate all of this so much, like, it's so sweet, but, like, can't see myself marrying you.
Exactly, I know. So it's like finding, like, I think maybe we need to experience that, and this is all uncharted territory, so I have no clue, but my
Right?
theory is I think we need to, like, experience that sweetness and that other side of the spectrum in order to, like, find a good balance.
Yes, agreed. But also, like, you see who's a good example? Well, this is all Instagram based, so you never know what's going on behind closed doors, but there's, like, a few people that I follow, and I'm like, their relationship is just so sweet. Like, this guy goes above and beyond in the, like, littlest and the biggest ways, and the woman is, like, the public figure in the face, and the man is, like, not public at all, like so I think me
Aw,
and you need some more private guys that are just, like, sweet, supportive.
yes, I think so too. I feel like we have a lot in common.
LA is not a place to find a husband.
No, I
No.
agree.
I was so ready to live in the UK. I was loving it.
Well, would you consider doing that now?
Oh, absolutely. LA will always be home to me. My whole family
Yeah,
is here. I've grown up here. But, like,
yeah.
I'm so down to live in Europe with a European man, like, romantic.
I don't get why these women can't understand that there are sweet guys out there. Yes, there are a lot less of them than there are like these asshole types, but even just my grandmother and grandfather's relationship. My grandfather literally treated her like the princess that she deserved to be. He gave her everything she ever wanted and then some. The funniest thing is, and she loves this story, like my first uncle, the first baby that she gave my grandfather, she came home and my grandfather was like, "That's for you." And he had bought her a brand new Mustang, which back then it was the first year the Mustang ever came out. And she was like, "Wow, like you bought me a car because I had a baby for you?" Like, that's how sweet my grandfather was. He went above and beyond. Even after he passed, he made sure that she was well taken care of. And having my grandfather as that role model along with my father, I was going for the wrong type of men, and I finally found a man that was like my father and my grandfather, where he literally will give me whatever I want, but he treats me with respect. He's sweet and nice, though he can be a little stubborn. That's the Taurus bull in him as well. He is a kind-hearted soul. And that's what I love about him, is that he reminds me of my grandfather in the sense that my grandfather worshiped the ground my grandmother walked. I'm not saying that my boyfriend exactly worships the ground that I walk on, but we have a very loving, caring, understanding relationship where I would do anything for him and he would do anything for me. And it is something that I longed for a very long time. And my grandmother's always like, it took you so long to find the perfect guy. Yeah, because they don't make them like they used to. And I keep telling her, like, she really lucked out having a man like my grandfather, because there aren't guys like that in this world anymore. I swear. They just don't exist. But there are still sweet guys out there. And if you find one, keep them. Like, she should be so happy that someone is sweet and caring and thoughtful, especially where she might have not got that with James or Scumdevil. Like, that's something she should want. And I think that's where she's still confused on what she wants, because that is something that she needs. And that's where you have to move outside that box that you put yourself in and try meet new people that are different than what you would normally go for. Then you will find out there are people out there that still are sweet and caring, and there are great men out there for us great women, which I'm not saying she's not a great woman, but she also deserves to be happy just as much as anybody else in this world. I think she has maybe learned from her mistakes for the most part. I say most part because she has learned for the most part. Not completely, but she still deserves happiness, and she deserves somebody that's going to treat her well, just like Renee. And why did they cut it off here? Ugh. Anyways, let's go to the next part.
It seems like none of the couples from the show have survived. Do you think it's possible to find a genuine connection while dating on a TV show?
It's unfortunate that none of them survived. It's really sad. But who did survive was the girls. Like, we are so tight. We talk every day. I do think it's possible. Again, it's just everybody has to go in with the right intentions. And like, goals is Molly May and Tommy Fury from Love Island UK. Like, they are now pregnant and they are so cute. So like, if that is not proof that it's possible, I for sure think it is.
That's very true. Yeah, Molly is a sweetheart. So cute. So you do keep in touch with the girls from the show and like some of the guys?
Yeah, I talked to a couple of the guys, but the girls are main priority. We chat nonstop, and I'm going to me and Jacqueline, since the show, have like traveled all around the world together, and I'm going to see her next week, actually. And we're doing like a little event in her hometown, and I've met her family before, and so I'm just going to spend time with them. And me and her, like, we all created such a special bond on the show.
Yeah.
But I really think that there needs to be a show where the finalists are the ones that men come in and date.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do a little swap and have the girls that were paired up with these guys
Just a little
that were
spin-off.
not. Yes.
We're all down.
Oh, fun.
Okay, but that would defeat the whole purpose of the show. The show is that these guys are famous and looking for love, but pretending that they are something else, construction workers, this, that, to find actual love, not just for their money and fame, but for the connection that they had. So they would have to switch it up a little bit, because technically, yes, these girls have a little bit of fame for being on the show, but there was like 18 of them. But they would have to change it up because it wouldn't fit the same narrative that it originally had. I do know also, and I know I brought this up, about MILF Manor. With MILF Manor, the first season, they had it where, like, the moms all were thinking that they were finding love and that their sons were going to a different resort and finding love, and come to find out that they were actually dating the other moms and yada, yada, yada. I do know that season 2, they did switch it up a little bit, where they did have, like, dads and their sons, and moms and their sons, and it was a different kind of spin, even though it was the same show, MILF Manor. But that would be definitely something that is doable, for sure, but it would have to have a little bit different of a spin, because it doesn't fit the narrative like they had for season 1. So if they do a season 2, that would be cool, doing it with the girls that didn't find love, or at least the like finalists. But they would have to like change it up a little bit. They'd have to like come up with a new way to get these guys to sign up, kind of a thing. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's a great idea? Let me know down below. And I gotta comment real quick. Rachel's, ooh, that would be great. And I love that Renee mentioned Love Island, though Love Island UK, but Rachel had nothing to say about anything about Love Island, except that she loved that couple. Congrats for them. Like, that's it. I wonder why.
When it comes to the show, why do you think none of the other relationships worked?
I think that the guys didn't necessarily, not all of them, but some of them didn't come in with the intention of actually following through. And I think once it came down to the reality of the location distance, and not all of them were, let's just pretend Jamie was genuine. Not all of them were like me and Jamie were like, I was down to move, and he had me move into his house. Not all of them were on that level. And so I think that they tried it out and then just like cordially went their separate ways.
Yeah.
It's been messy since the show. Like, some girls that didn't make it so far really, really want to be involved still and have gone after the guys. And I'm like, this is sisterhood. Like, what are you doing?
Geez, they need to like pick up cameras.
I'm telling you, the drama that happened after the show is like, I could, that would be insanity. Insanity. It's so unfortunate that we haven't gotten a reunion.
Yeah, I know. I feel like you guys should have a reunion for sure. That would be really fun.
All the fans want it. All of us want it. I don't see why we can't do it.
If you could see Jamie now in a reunion setting, what would you say?
I have nothing left to say to him. I really don't. Like, he can go on and on and on as much as he wants. And I've said my piece. I've said my story. I know the way he acts. I know the way he moves. I know that he's trying to convince himself that he's the good guy. And like, honestly, my mom would probably come in and have some words with him.
If you have nothing to say to Jamie in this fantasy reunion that we're playing in our heads, what would you say to the other guys or the other girls? Like, how do you think some of those conversations would go down?
I have no problems with the guys. We're cool. Some of the girls, I think I would just let Brittany start it because she's good at that. And then, and I mean that in the best way, like, Brittany's just so real and like really doesn't care what people think. And she will just give it to you straight. If you are behaving oddly, she'll speak her mind on it. And if you're being dirty to her, she will. But she is a very sweet girl. So I'm hope this doesn't come off in a different way than I'm meaning it. And then I'd probably get excited and start in on, there has just been such messy situations where like, there are some pick-me girls in there that like really won't let the guys go, or like really won't let the show go. Which,
like, from the Final Five girls? Or
no. Final Five girls are cool. We're all like, all right, when are we seeing each other next? Like, we all just love each other. The show is the show. We're excited about it, of course. But like, we're not stuck on these guys, and we're not stuck on like trying, I don't know how to say this.
Yeah, no, I think I understand what you're saying.
There are literally some girls that are posting memes about making fun of the fact that none of the couples lasted till the end and they left early on. And I just think that's like, what are you doing? Why? It's just icky and weird, and paired with some actions that they've also done, I'm just not a fan. Like, really, you're going to talk bad about the Final Five girls when some of you gave hand jobs in a pool in front of everybody? I don't know. I'm trying not to be rude, but like, come on.
Yeah, for real.
I think a reunion would totally be an interesting thing to do, especially with everything that's happened, and just see where everyone is now and what they would have to say to each other. It's also very interesting that she's going after these girls that didn't make it to the end. I mean, they have their opinions and thoughts too. They're allowed to say how they feel, and maybe they felt like they could have had a connection with one of these guys and that they didn't get that opportunity. But this is what also happens when you have a 5-18 ratio. Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, these girls are going to use every bit of that platform to increase their influencer platform and to maybe get onto a different show or whatever the case may be. And it's kind of funny. She's like, and, you know, I'm not trying to be, like, petty. Well, this is my imitation, but, like, some of these girls gave handjobs in the pool to these guys. Like, that's icky. Look at who you're talking to right now. Do you know who you're talking to right now? This is the same girl that got in a pool with her best friend's boyfriend and was doing things with him while his girlfriend was upstairs mourning the loss of her dog and her grandmother, and then went to the car and had sex with him. Do you realize who you're talking to, Renee Ash? I don't think you do. 'Cause that's one of those girls that you're talking about from your show. Rachel's kind of like one of them. She might be a little different now, but she's one of those icky girls, in my opinion at least. What do you guys think?
Okay, so I feel like some of the guys handled crashing the girls' final interview to tell them the truth and to break the news that they're actually famous football players. And Sebastian just like really did not. The way he set it up, he was like, all right, it's time to tell her the truth because, I owe her that much. Or like, however he phrased it, just did not come across well because he's like breaking these girls' hearts and he's like, and I'm a professional athlete and like really rubbing it in. Gosh, this is awful.
Jamie's the one who like really rubbed it in. He's like, I'm a famous footballer.
Yeah, and he would
No,
like
you're
laugh
not.
about it. Yeah. Oh man.
But
Yeah.
none of them wanted to do it. They all felt really awkward doing it. I'll stick up for them in that sense. So whenever one of them felt too awkward, they would send Jamie in because he has no problem being like, I'm famous.
Well, that tells you something. Oh my gosh. What is one thing that you think people get wrong about you?
From the show, I was painted as like a very, what's the opposite of genuine? Like shallow, money hungry. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, see you next Tuesday. And I think that it's hilarious at first. People comment like, I hated you at first, and then you became my favorite, which I think is hilarious because I'd probably hate me as well. But I think that my story arc, it goes really nicely because you really do get to know me and that I'm very much a genuine person. And like, money can only make you so happy. If you're not with the right person, then it's not fun. Like, I fall in love with personality, and I fell in love with somebody who was an ad salesman with 3 kids who lived in a village.
Mm.
And so I think
Yeah.
that I'm misunderstood by the way that I speak because I'm very sarcastic and I make a lot of dark jokes, and I come off as shallow and as a lot more ditzy than I really am. Like, I think and overthink nonstop, and I'm very aware of what's going on, and I'm very emotionally intelligent, and I don't think I come off that way when you first meet me.
Mhm. I can relate to that. I mean, it's very easy for editors to, paint this picture when also like on the show that I was on, I wasn't very confrontational. So at a certain point, I kind of like played into that knowing, which, I regret now, but also like, and I've said this before on the podcast, like I've learned about myself a lot more and I have a lot more to speak on now. And when I'm watching reality TV shows like this, I always take these creative personalities with a grain of salt
Yeah.
because I know that it's not quite real and they're probably playing into a certain thing. And also with the whole like money thing was definitely a point that the producers were trying to convey and like trying to paint these girls as a certain like gold diggers and stuff.
Like, there were a certain amount of like, me, Jacqueline, and Brittany were told that these are top-notch, like super top-notch guys, like super wealthy, amazing. So they had us come in talking about money. So of course we get painted as
Uh,
the gold diggers.
uh-huh. Yeah.
But honestly, it's hilarious.
I mean, even the way they portrayed to you what the show was about, they kind of hinted around it in that sense. And every show is going to have a production edit to make people look a certain way. And listen, she seems like a wonderful girl. She seems very genuine, but I can tell a hint of that sarcastic personality. And I think that's why she gets along good with Rachel, because they kind of both have that kind of, we're sweet, but we have this sarcastic personality that will come out kind of attitude. And I hate to also say it too, but like most people that sign up for any of these competition shows know that, like, with being on a TV show, especially reality TV, there is potential opportunities for more opportunities and fame to come along with that. So for these other women, the 18-5 ratio, they're going to use this show as leverage to do other things that they wanted to do, and maybe get opportunities for other things to be able to do things that maybe they wanted to do more than this show. So to kind of call them CUNTs, because they want to pursue further opportunities or come off as money hungry. I mean, we live in a world of greed. Money makes the world go round. Without money, you can't do anything. And in the society that we are in today, it's hard to do anything because everything is so freaking expensive, and the cost of living has increased, but minimum wage for most states have not increased to that level that people are actually living at a stable point. And that's why people are getting more greedy when it comes to wanting to make money and stepping on other people to get ahead, to make more money, because of the world we live in. And I truly believe that. And with these reality TV shows too, like, people have a perception of it that if they do this, they can become famous or more famous or whatever. Like, that has been put in our head since reality TV started coming around, and what it's portrayed itself as throughout the years for many people. I mean, look at the Beverly Hills Housewives. If you look at, like, New Jersey or even, like, Beverly Hills, the people that started, like, they, yes, had money, but, like, now they are flaunting the money that they've made from the show with outlandish things because the show has made them more money. And Rachel, isn't that the whole reason why you wanted to negotiate your contract? Was because you felt that you deserved more money because you brought Scandoval on with the affair that you had with Scumdevil, and that you deserved it. You deserved it. Though people that had been on the show way longer than you wanted the same amount of money because you created this drama for them. Though literally you didn't. You were doing what benefited you, and we're not doing this on the camera. You were doing this off the camera. And you wanted to be at the same level as everybody else because you felt like you deserved it from everything you brought to the network. And then when they didn't give you what you wanted, you didn't come back, and now you're suing people for money. It's not to get justice. It's because you are seeking financial gain, and that is my opinion. I really feel like Renee has no clue who she's talking to right now. I really do.
And knowing that Ryan obviously has a tell when he lies, and Jamie, it was like an easier thing for him to do. Do you think that there was some like mistrust early on, finding out that he actually, the profession that he was saying that he wasn't in reality of like his actual profession? And like, did that create some distrust?
Shockingly, no, because I understood the premise of the show and that it had to be done. It shows in my reveal. I'm like, cool. So you lied to me from the start. That was great. Cheers. See you later. But no, I understood that was the premise of the show. But now, like, knowing how much he lies in real life, I'm like, "Oh, cool." And watching it back, he's also like, me and my mom would watch it together and she's like, "Look, he's touching his sleeves. Look, he's touching his sleeves." So, like, when he lies, he touches his sleeves, or he'll play, like, with his neck or play with his clothes. Like, they all had little telltale signs. Like, Marco's voice would go up a few octaves. Sebastian would just also eyes kinda wide, but just, like, at some points, you would look at him and he'd be making faces, like, they're such bad liars. Lloyd, I don't even know what to say about that one. Horrible
Lloyd,
liar.
he's so hot, but like, so indecisive and just so like wishy-washy.
He's
And one day it's this girl, and the next day
yeah.
it's someone new. And I'm like, that's not a husband material at all.
He's young, he gets girls thrown at him, and so I think
Yeah.
it's hard for him to, like, get his head on straight when he has all that, but I spoke to him recently, and he was saying that, like, he really I don't know if these were his exact words, but, like, he wants to find someone and eventually have kids, so
Hmm.
hopefully
Well,
this was a learning lesson for him too, to, like,
yeah.
make a decision.
Totally. I'm sure it's a challenge for him, and he's got some life lessons from it. And I'm happy that you have too. Like, there is something to be said about like putting yourself out there and trying something new, and maybe it wasn't what you expected, but now that you have this experience and you are in the public eye, you get to speak on it and be someone who is an inspiration and relatable for other people. So I
Thank
think
you.
that's very
Yeah, I
admirable.
don't regret it at all. I had the time of my life. Even with the aftermath, like I loved the experience and I loved falling in love and I loved being on camera and I loved every girl I met and I have this family for life because nobody understands what we went through together. And so there was so much good that came out of it. And even with the negative situation that came out of it, it is a positive because I finally got my lesson of don't go for these guys anymore. So I can like actually start looking at real lasting relationships with like respectful, respectable, nice guys and help other women who have gone through something similar. So
Rachel, who are you to talk shit about Lloyd and him not knowing what he wants in life and him being young and trying to figure it out? Isn't that the same thing that happened with you? Like, you're looking down upon him and shaming him. And she's even saying, like, I've talked to him recently, and this show kind of opened his eyes a little bit to the fact that like he wants to settle down and have kids and a family, and yet here you are just like shaming somebody for literally feeling the same way you felt, where you didn't know what you wanted in life and you were doing things that you regret and did things that got you in a bad position, but yet you can, be kind of a petty buddy with him. Real cool, Rachel. She could have been a lot nicer about it, been like, he is hot, he's just not my type, and like, I would never go for somebody like that just, gets all these girls and is so indecisive and doesn't know what he wants. And, maybe this show will help him see what he really wants and that he can't be living, a lifestyle like this. And maybe this show will help him in a direction that he can go in where he now knows what he wants. I mean, everything in life is a lesson. You learned one. Why can't Lloyd? I will say, though, I do find it interesting that Renee, no matter what she went through, has used this as a lesson and experience and something that she doesn't regret and wouldn't take back. And that's a wonderful thing because everything you go through in life is a lesson for a reason. And I do hope that because of everything she's gone through, that she finds somebody that will make her happy. Just like I hope that for Rachel. I just hope that Rachel also can really learn from her mistakes and take accountability for it. And God bless you, my kitty. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that's my kitty for you.
And you're so young. Like, it kept flashing, you're only like, what are you, 28 now, or are you still 27?
27. But apparently, according to the
Gosh.
internet, I'm lying about my age. There are entire forums about it. I've
Oh my
learned that I am a vampire and that there's something off. So,
Oh. Oh. What are you on Reddit?
no, I made the mistake of going on Reddit. Don't do it.
Don't do it for your mental health.
No,
Oh,
but I think
man.
this is even on TikTok where I got a comment where it's like, something's off. I think she's a vampire.
It's wild.
I was like, that'd be pretty cool if I was.
Oh my gosh. Renee, thank you so much for coming on. Where can the listeners follow you on your socials?
On both Instagram and TikTok, it's at Renee Ash, Renee Ash. And just to clear this up, Ash is my last name, government given. Like,
Cool.
people try to fight me that that's my last name. I don't know what to tell you.
Because it's such a cool last name. They're like,
I
there's no way that could be
If there's
true.
one thing I got blessed with, it is my name. Like, I do like that.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
So guys, what did you think of this episode? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm sorry that it took so long to get out to you. There's been a lot going on here. I've been taking care of my grandmother who had a sty in her eye, and that's been a whole thing. I also hadn't really been feeling too good this week. I know something that we had talked about on last Rachel Goes Rogue was very upsetting to me. And then I will say, come to find out, without even knowing, even though I felt free opening up to you guys about everything I had gone through with that person, I found out that he had passed. And that was one thing that I was scared about, was that he was still online and he could, come after me for even just opening up to you all about it. I do want to say that I hope that his family can grieve in peace and people can leave him alone. I know I did not get that respect from him, but I have respect for other people. So I do wish his family and everyone all the best. I'm glad that I ended up blocking everything out because I wouldn't want his family to have to see that. That's not something that they did. That's something that he did. So rest in peace, and I hope his family is doing well. I wanted to let you guys know that. So that's been kind of on my mind, along with a lot of other things that's been happening. Besides that, though, what do you guys think of my little cartoon profile picture for this? I did it last night, and I was like, I don't know about it. Let me know what you guys think, though. I think it's kind of cool. I also took other selfies as well. And what you can see is I'm wearing my breaking news I don't care shirt, which I will show it off for you guys one day soon. You too can also get this shirt from HIPPIE Runner, which if you go in my description at the bottom, there is a code for you. They make wonderful shirts. They're a U.S. business made here in America from South Carolina. They're a small company that have, become bigger and bigger through time, and they make some funny shirts, tumblers, all of that great stuff. So if you're looking for some great, sayings and funny things, they definitely have it. You can also check out my friend Complete Creations, who's a very small business. Here on YouTube, she does tutorials on how to make, tumblers and cups and epoxy earrings and all of that great things. So check her out. Her link will be down below as well. Also, I did do a live. I did mention that for you guys. So if you have not seen that, go check that out. Like I said, it's in a different tab than the videos. It's in the live tab. It was a great time, and I will be doing more of those. So stay tuned. Make sure you're notified so that way you can get notified when I go live so you can come and join the fun and chat in the chat with all of us. I also will be starting to do members only lives where we get to know each other better. You get to know me better. We can talk to each other. We can all get to know each other better, have fun, and it's going to be just like my normal kickback and relax streams that originated here from the beginning. It's going to be one of those, but just for members, where we can all have fun together and just enjoy our time here on YouTube. So if you have not joined the membership, that link will also be down below for you, or you can press the join button on my channel underneath the video. I will be offering a lot more members only stuff, like doing Ariana's cocktail books, making the cocktails with you guys and talking about it. I know Stassi has a new book coming out. We have a lot of things to discuss, and we can talk more about the Bravo sphere and different things happening as well on these members only lives. Also, I am going to start putting out some merch. So right now I'm collecting some ideas. So let me know some cool ideas that you would wear or you would want. And let me know, just so that way we can get a good idea of what would be something that people would want and like and wear. Because you can like it, but then not want it. Or it can look cool, but it's not something you would wear. I want this to be something that is for everybody. Whether it's makeup bags, shirts, tumblers, things like that. So let me know some cool sayings, ideas. I have some already in my head that I've been planning, but I want to hear from you guys. You guys helped create this beautiful community that we have here, and that's what I love most about my channel is the community that we have all together. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and stay tuned because a lot of videos will be going pop, 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 pop on your notifications because I have a lot of videos to finish up for you guys, and I can't wait for you all to see them. So stay tuned for more, and make sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and like I said, turn those notifications on so that way you can get notified every time I post a video or go live. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and keep shining bright.
I wanna burn all the bridges between us.